my money, plain and simple.
Furious, devastated, the woman says she's been waiting on the village of Dolton to send her a check for missing payments for months. The owner showed us these invoices, which she says are unpaid, saying she had to tap into her savings to keep her business afloat.
It's all depleted now. So now we're in a complete rut now, and they don't even understand the positions that they have put us in.
Hey everyone, welcome back. So by now, it is no surprise that Tiffany Henyard is no longer serving as the mayor of Dolton, Illinois. Despite her bold declarations about how long she planned to hold on to the position, I will forever be your mayor, I will forever be your supervisor, and I am co-coined as the supermayor. Her time in office has come to an end. Yet, even though she is no longer in power, that has not stopped her from continuing to stir up chaos within the village. The woman you see here either is or was a vendor who worked with the village of Dolton, having been brought in during the Tiffany Henyard administration.
And hoodwinked, you've been bamboozled, you've been led astray.
She claims she has not been paid for 4 months, which adds up to a total of $12,800.
We worked twice a day, once on Saturdays, and the payment was $3,200 per month.
Now she says she is in jeopardy of losing her cleaning business. Shania Will Newick was proud to support the village of Dolton and its police officers. She says her cleaning company, T&T Cleaning Solutions, was hired in 2023 to clean Dolton's police department under former Mayor Tiffany Henyard's administration. The owner says the first 5 months were great. They were paid on time by the village in full. But then she says payment stopped.
Not even an email sent, not even partial payment, nothing. Just no answer at all. It's just devastating.
She says the village owes her 4 payments, totaling $12,800.
So while watching that news report, I had to pause and take a closer look at the invoices, myself, to check the dates and figure out exactly which ones went unpaid. Let's break this down. As I go over each invoice date, I will also compare them to the dates of Dolton's board meetings to see if this vendor, because honestly, if she is owed that much money, you would expect her to attend at least one meeting to apply pressure, or at the very least, ask why she was not being paid. Now, let us begin with the first unpaid invoice. The date was a little hard to read, but I am fairly confident it says March 23, 2024, and it was marked as unpaid. So, let us take a look at the board meetings that occurred after that invoice and check if she attended any of them to ask about the delayed payment. You all need to connect the dots. DOTTS, dots. Now, this was the Mr. Dots meeting, and later I learned that DOT actually stands for Democrats of Thornton Township, so that explains that part. But for those who do not know, this man's name is Michael Smith. He was one of Tiffany Henyard's most loyal supporters and constantly defended her. Thankfully, he does not currently hold any government position. Now, let us move forward. That board meeting happened on April 1, 2024. I am putting up the list of citizens who spoke during the meeting, so she did not attend this meeting to inquire about her payment. The next meeting happened on May 6, 2024. I reviewed everyone who spoke during the citizen's address again, and once more, she did not appear. So after not receiving her payment, she still did not attend either of those meetings. Now the next invoice we are looking at is dated May 23, 2024, and she also claims this one was never paid. To avoid dragging this out, I reviewed the board meetings from June 3, 2024, July 1, 2024, and August 5, 2024, and she still had not shown up to any of those either. Then came another invoice dated August 23, 2024. In this case, the news broadcast made it hard to tell whether it was marked paid or unpaid, but I am assuming she includes this one in her unpaid claims. Then it hit me, wait a second, the trustees were also holding meetings at the Park District, and after that, they even had a so-called secret girls meeting at the Park District. So I checked the board meeting from September 12, 2024. And guess who we run into? Now, some of you might recognize this woman already, but if you do not, her name is Cassandra Hobson Jordan. She also threw her name in the hat to run for mayor. Needless to say, she did not win, and honestly, thank goodness for that. To show you exactly what I mean, I am about to play a short clip that puts both women side by side. Watch closely, you're going to notice similar mannerisms, similar ways of speaking, and the same kind of disrespectful energy they both carry. Let us roll the footage. You all should be grateful someone is running for mayor and trying to help. rebuild this village. You should be glad your mayor looks the part, plays the part, and acts the part. I will keep dropping videos. I will keep dropping receipts. I only deal in facts. Our seniors. I have never seen so much chaos among older folks. Women in their 60s and 70s out here acting wild and out of line. You are older than me, should know better. So yeah, Dolton definitely dodged a bullet there. Thankfully, the voters saw through all of that and kept her far from that office. Now, back to the meeting. As you can see, I scanned through the public speakers again and, nope, that vendor lady still did not show up. Let us move on to the next one, which was held on October 7th, 2024. At this point, from the very first bill I showed you, which was dated March 23rd, 2024, we are now at nearly the 7-month mark. Yet despite all this time passing and all those board meetings, do you think she showed up to speak then? No, still no appearance. Let us jump to the last invoice. This one was dated October 23rd, 2024, and according to her, that one also went unpaid. Now let us look at the final board meeting. I am a vendor for Dolton, not a resident. I used to clean the police department. Even when we were not getting paid, we still showed up every single day and got the job done. Now, I sat there thinking to myself, why would anyone keep showing up for a job, day after day, for several months without being paid? If someone is not paying me what I am owed, I am done. I have bills, I have responsibilities. I am not out here volunteering. So I started wondering, why would someone continue working like that without payment? One possible explanation is maybe they were being paid off the books and they did not want to raise any red flags. Another possibility, a lump sum. Either way, that is not how smart business is done. Here is another theory. What if Tiffany and her crew gave this woman a contract without getting it approved by the board? I know. Tiffany always follows protocol. How dare you suggest such a thing? But hear me out, Tit is not that far-fetched. And guess what? That vendor is not the only one who stepped up and told the board and Tiffany about not getting paid. Let me show you this next guy. This man came to the village, did a job, because Mayor Tiffany Henyard gave him the green light, despite there never being a formal RFP for the work he was doing. I am not from Dolton, but I do work here as a contractor. I own SNS Lawn Service. Once I saw how bad the properties looked, I dropped everything, left my city and clients behind, and came here to clean up 160 properties in 2 weeks. Sounds like Tiffany went rogue again and told him to go ahead and handle it, making him believe payment was guaranteed without board approval. If my full route does not get done, it gets done every 2 weeks, 160 properties. I know some of the people in those buildings. There were trees growing out of gutters. I trimmed everything and for next to nothing. Hold up, what does a little bit of nothing even mean? You are not telling us how much you charged. Clearly, he never spoke with any board members either. This right here is why the RFP process is in place, so mayors like Tiffany cannot go around hiring whoever they want and handing out jobs without oversight. When someone does work, they should get paid. That is the bottom line. I did what I was asked, and I did not get paid. I am not here to argue. I am just saying I did the work, and I deserve my money. And yes, some people might ask, well, they did the work, so why not pay them? No one knows how you picked the contractor, what they are charging, or whether they were even qualified for the job. That is why this whole thing is shady. So in the case of the vendor lady who cleaned the police department, Tit, sounds like she was just handed the job, with no open bidding process. Maybe there were better qualified companies out there. Maybe some could have done the work cheaper. But because none of that was considered, may explain why she was never properly paid. Because they did not follow the RFP process, and when I say they, I am talking about Tiffany Henyard and her inner circle. Tiffany knows this process well. She was not ignorant to Itchy, just willfully ignored it during her time as mayor. To prove this point, let us rewind the clock. We are going all the way back to 2014 to when Tiffany was still a trustee. That is, right trustee Tiffany Henyard. Back then, she herself was demanding the RFP process be followed. Do not take my word for it. Let us roll the footage. Next on my list is I would like to have an RFP, which stands for Request for Proposal, board up companies. Mr. Irving, can you or someone from your staff write up an RFP for a company. If you could not quite catch what she said, she was asking for an RFP to be created for a board-up company, that is, a company to come in and board up abandoned homes in Dolton. I highlighted this moment for a reason, because it proves she knew how vital the RFP process was to ensure transparency, accountability, and fairness when it comes to awarding contracts in the village. She was not new to this, she just chose to abandon the process once she was in power. But enough about that. For now, let us return to the vendor lady. She finally shows up and speaks directly to the board and the mayor about her unpaid invoices. We just want what is due to us. We have worked as a vendor, we gave our time, our work ethic, and everything, but we cannot work for free. I have watched previous board meetings, Mayor, where you said vendors should not be working for free, that they deserve to be paid. That is why I am here, just to get what is owed to us. Thank you. So in short, she came, she spoke, and she simply asked, when am I going to get paid? Now, let us listen to the responses. First, Trustee Jason House, who at the time was still just a trustee. Today, he is the current mayor of Dolton. His response, let us take a listen. Lastly, but definitely not least, TI heard an individual reference their unpaid bills. Right now, we are working through a budget. The board has received a draft, and it includes many challenges. That said, it is a task we must complete. Are building a budget that will allow us to pay off outstanding balances. I want to be clear. Vendors will be paid. It will be a process and a difficult one, but it is our responsibility. For those owed money, I ask that you email the village administrator, Keith Freeman, and copy me directly at jhous@vildton.org. We will do our best to keep everyone informed on the status of their payments. Jason explained they are working on a budget that will account for unpaid bills. He admitted it is going to be challenging, but confirmed the village intends to honor payments to vendors. However, here is the part I do not agree with. He asked vendors to email Keith Freeman. Now, if you know anything about the story, then you already know that Keith the Thief Freeman should never have had access to taxpayer dollars in the first place. It just does not make sense. Let us listen to a few smart folks who tried to warn everyone. This is not just the Price is Right. We are talking about real consequences for bad hires. We found out about him when we got the agenda. We only spoke with him for 20 minutes that Sunday. There was no background check even, though we implemented one. This was not brought before the board properly. Mayor, you have to work with the board. You cannot just force things. You complained for 8 years about others doing that. Now you are doing it yourself. Just follow the process, go before the board, and get approval. That is all we ask. And they were right. Tiffany had bypassed protocol again, but she responded with her usual deflection. You all say we did not follow the process, but that is not true. I want to be very clear. During my interview with Mr. Freeman and Ms. McGrath, I asked if a background check had been completed. Trustee Norwood was present. Mr. Freeman said no. But just so you know, a background check is pending now. Going forward, no one will start work until their background comes back clear. That is the process we agreed on. Once his background is complete, we will call a special meeting and move forward. Until then, he will begin working for the village of Dolton. So once again, Tiffany went ahead and did what she wanted, then tried to justify it after the fact. I am not even going to dive deep into the whole Keith Freeman situation. If you have been following this story, then you already know the full rundown. Now back to Jason. While I do not agree with him putting Keith's name out there as a reliable contact, I do understand that at the time he was still a trustee and bound to follow certain procedural steps. To his credit, Jason gave out his own personal email and said vendors could copy him directly, so at least he was making himself accessible and staying respectful in his tone. Now let us hear how Tiffany Henyard responded to that same vendor. A lot of you vendors come up here and talk about things without any concrete evidence. When you say you are not getting paid and you address the mayor, I want to make this very clear. I am always the one trying to make sure vendors get paid. I am not the one holding up payments. I am not the one keeping you off the warrant list or the bill list. So Tiffany lashed out, accusing the vendor of blaming her directly. But in my opinion, that vendor was not being accusatory. She seemed respectful, direct, and professional. She addressed the full board and even referenced past meetings where Tiffany herself had said vendors should be paid. Because one thing my attorneys told me to, say same thing you told. That guy DJ who poured the concrete, pay me what you owe me. That is why I am here. I want what is due to us. Thank you. Now here's the thing. While Tiffany's reaction might seem like she was simply offended or defensive, you always have to look at the other side of the coin. Tiffany is a double-sided coin kind of person. She is always running a game. She will act like she is on your side while secretly twisting narratives behind the scenes. Now, here is something you might have missed, unless you were really paying attention. Something subtle but suspicious. You have to ask the right questions and look a little deeper. So here is another way we could interpret that whole interaction between the vendor and Tiffany Henyard. What if, just maybe, they were working together? What if the goal was to make it seem like they had no prior relationship? Like Tiffany never gave this woman a contract to clean the police station. Now, look, that is just my speculation. I do not have proof. Spends taxpayer money without board approval and hires people based on her own personal judgment or benefit. This scenario would not be out of character at all. But let us get back to the news interview with the vendor lady. I felt like you all could get the story out. I saw how you handled previous issues, and you got them taken care of. That is why I reached out to you. Then the reporter reached out to the village of Dolton, and this was their official statement. The village of Dolton is aware of the vendor's claims and acknowledges that this, along with several other agreements, originated under the direction of the former mayor and administration. As we continue to navigate the aftermath of the previous administration, we are actively working to sort through these outstanding commitments. Then the reporter asked the vendor lady a straightforward question. Do you feel sympathy for the new mayor, Jason House, who has to clean up everything the last administration left behind? And her answer? No, not at all. Because when you take over from a previous mayor, you inherit everything they left behind. You have to fix it. Now here's what I found interesting about that response. She gave no grace, no empathy for Jason House. And yes, technically she is right. It is Jason's responsibility now. He took on the role, and with it comes the baggage. But when Tiffany Henyard stepped into office, acting completely unhinged, some of her biggest supporters did not hold her accountable at all. Though she had already been a trustee for 8 years and knew how the system worked, she just chose to ignore it. Now check out this next clip from a public comment during a board meeting. This woman stands up, fresh off the clock, and starts praising Tiffany Henyard like she is royalty. I'm a Dolton resident. I'm from Chicago, but I've been living here about 7 years. Miss Tiffany, I have never met you, but I think you are a queen, and I'm here to crown you. Now I don't know who these people are, but they've been leaving things on my door, and I'm starting to feel harassed. So that's why I'm here fresh off work. I'm Team Tiff. I think you're doing an excellent job. I take my hat off. To you and to everyone up there, teamwork makes the dream work. It's about respecting the chain of command. Give respect to get respect, she continues. ... You've done a tremendous job. I see the things you post online, your work. For the kids, women, and seniors. Give her a chance. Nothing happens overnight. Now, just for the record, this meeting took place on June 6, 2022. But Tiffany Henyard had already been in office since May 8, 2021. So by that point, she had already been mayor for over a year. She had plenty of time to get things rightened. Yet we all saw how that went. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? But too many people were busy trying to be the big I over the little t. Then she turns to someone else in the room. You know me, Mr. Holmes, don't you? And he's a good guy. I know him personally. Well, that comment did not age well. Because if you have been following this entire Tiffany Henyard saga, you know exactly who Andrew Holmes is and what he has been accused of. But anyway, let us continue with the love fest. So I just want to, can I give you this crown? Oh yeah, come on, you can give a crown, thank you. Applause, oh thank you. I'ma adjust my crown, sit on my throne just for you, baby, and there it is. With displays like this we really surprised that Tiffany Henyard's confidence was off the charts. She believed she had total control. She believed she could do no wrong because people like this were feeding her ego. They gave her the benefit of the doubt. They crowned her queen. But you see, it is not the same story with Mayor Jason House. And that is okay, because I genuinely believe he is more equipped to handle the pressure. And more importantly, he seems morally grounded, focused on doing what is best for the people of Dolton. In fact, the village of Dolton told reporters that they have started the process of bringing in an outside firm to help organize and verify, all pending vendor payments and contracts. They also said they have been in direct communication with the cleaning company and are working toward a resolution that is fair and fiscally responsible. And as for former Mayor Tiffany Henyard, I reached out to her for comment. She did not respond. Riding around and getting it. Riding around and getting it, so yet is a mess. The village has to sort through all of it. They need to verify which claims are legitimate. Who was hired? When were they hired? Why were they hired? They cannot just start cutting checks, because anyone could come out of the woodwork saying, "Hey, I did work, pay me too." Jason House and his team need time. They have to untangle the whole thing carefully, and from what I can tell, they are already making smart decisions that show responsibility and integrity. Anyway, that is going to be it for today. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit that like button, and if you are new here, make sure to subscribe, because around here, when I speak up, people have to listen. Sometimes the hate can block your ears, but you have to listen to both sides. And remember, anytime someone talks that fast, watch your wallet. That includes my comments too.